Welcome to the Access to Innovators podcast, powered by the premier life skills university, High Point University.
Good morning, and thank you all for joining us. My name is Ethan Parker, and I am a junior from Concord, North Carolina, majoring in sports media communications. Today, I'm going one-on-one with the one and only Sellers Shy, CBS Sports lead golf producer and HBU's network television producer in residence. Sellers, thank you so much for joining us.
Ethan, thank you. The pleasure is all mine, my friend.
Well, go ahead and start things off. I just wanted to ask you, can you share your journey and how you became the lead golf producer for CBS Sports?
It's a journey, and I tell you, Ethan, it's a road of attrition, my friend. It all began back in, and I won't give you every year, I promise, but it did begin in 1986 when I enjoyed playing the game of golf, and I went to a tournament, which then was the Danny Thomas Memphis Classic, and then it's progressed to now it's a playoff event in the golf series. I went to the committee and I just asked for a job there at the course, and they said, well, we'd love to hire you, but CBS just called and they needed some local runners, and we thought you'd be the perfect fit. And thankfully, 30 plus years later, it has been the perfect fit for me. I had started working with them in high school just when the tournament came around. And then at the bigger events like the Masters and the PGA Championship where they needed more people, I would drive to those events and work for them. So it's not like I, was part of the traveling circus all year long on golf. It was just when they were kind of near my area. Went to Ole Miss, worked in broadcast journalism, very similar to you working for High Point University's broadcast journalism department, and stuck with it. And eventually had an internship at the Winter Olympics in Norway in 1994. And a couple famous things happened there. One specifically was the ice skating event where Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan had a run-in, let's say. And but we worked opening ceremonies in the ski jump, and it was an experience that I'll never forget. And that was, as I said, '94. That was my senior year. And from then on, I just kept in touch. I kept in touch with them. I showed. I wanted to make sure that they knew that I was still wanting to pursue this field, this space, and fast forward after a couple of years in 1997, I became staff with them and started to work their graphics and work my way up. So from 97 until now, I've been with CBS Sports, and it's taken me through a runner to a golf spotter to graphics, producing graphics, live graphics, to then producing live features, videotape, interviews, documentaries, to then live in the truck as an associate director, and then on to a producer, and then our lead producer in golf in 2021.
Yeah, well, what an amazing journey. What an amazing
you know
journey,
what? It's taken it a while, but I'm very thankful of each step because I've learned a lot along the way at each phase. Yeah,
for sure. And you talk about the steps a little bit. Obviously, producing sometimes can be tedious. A lot of times you do have to be on your A game. Can you walk us through the process of producing a live golf sports broadcast from the planning all the way to the execution?
I'll tell you what's very important. What's very important in my day-to-day job is that I get there. I try to get there before anyone else does. And why is that important? I don't like to brag that I get there, and that's a big point of mine. But the reason is because when everyone shows up, they're ready to work. All right. Well, they need that producer or that leader to tell them what to work on for that day. Well, if I'm just starting, if we arrive at the same time and I start working on it, then they're sitting there an hour, 2 hours without really any guidance. So I get there early. I prepare what needs to be done that day and for the shows. And then when they arrive, they have a format in front of them, not only the open format, but the entire show format. We're on the air 3, 4, 5 hours in a day, and they're prepared. So how does my day begin? My day begins, anywhere between 5:30 and 7, and normally it's dark. Normally I'm unlocking the trucks because the technical crew call until about 8 or 9. But I'm able to think. I'm able to format the day, and when everyone does arrive at 8, 9, 10 o'clock, then they have some direction, and that is the key to everything. Because once everyone shows up, it's hard to kind of format the show. So once that's done, all I do after that is answer questions, have meetings beyond just that week's tournament. And because we have anywhere between 18 and 23 tournaments a year. And so you work well in advance for each tournament. And that, while we may be next week at the Genesis Invitational, we could also be working on the Masters and the PGA Championship at the same time. So the key for me is getting there early and giving everyone a fighting chance in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, and like technology, it's continually advancing, and as you mentioned, you have been doing this for a very long time now. So how exactly do you stay up to date with all the new trends and technologies in sports broadcasting?
Technology has been nothing but our friend. Back in the day, we had only a certain number of cameras. We didn't have drones that now fly all over the place and give us a perspective that no one's ever seen. We did have the blimp back then, but the blimp technology is so much more advanced. We're able to follow a ball so much better, easier, and it's trustworthy. We have super slow-mo cameras now, more than we ever have. We have this camera called the Atlas Cam, which is this depth of field camera that gives you that cinematic view that puts you feel like you're in a movie theater watching our events. And we have bunker cams, and we have fly cams that are kind of that point-to-point cable cam. Even a little bit smaller camera called the mosquito camera, which is a fly cam, just a little bit more affordable, but also can get into areas that a big fly cam can't. It's a little tightly packed camera. So the point is, it has been nothing but our friend. It has to be managed because there are budgets, and we'd love to have everything, but you just can't. However, it has kept us in the forefront of other networks by allowing us to showcase our own courses as good as they can be, as good as they can be showcased.
Yeah, and technology, like you said, it has been our friend. But oftentimes it can, fall down on us and maybe forward when you least expect it to. So I wanted to ask you, how do you handle unexpected challenges or technical issues that may occur during a live broadcast?
In the old days, you'd probably be a little hot under the collar, and you'd maybe say some things that you regret, and you can't do that now. It happens. These are computer-based cameras, computer-based tape machines, computer-based audio panels, and it's just like your laptop at home. Every now and then it gets confused, and you need a reboot. And that's how you handle it. It's more of the temperament, and it's part of a bigger picture, which is the overall just culture in the compound, and you have to have it. You have to have positivity in the compound because it can go south quickly if you let it. Yeah. And because things happen, and when you're managing 150 people, 200 people in an event, and then at bigger events up to 1,000, you have to make sure that everyone is preaching the same language, and normally that is positivity based. And it's very, very important. So I know I steered it away from the technology, but it happens. Okay, and you learn to pivot, and you understand that in the end you're still live. And you really can't do anything about it. So
Okay. Well, we talked about some of our challenges that you may see. I wanted to kind of turn that a little bit and ask you, could you share your most memorable moment that you've experienced while producing golf broadcasts?
That's a good one. Well, it's very timely that the Super Bowl's this weekend. That one game I produced was the Indianapolis Colts in Buffalo. And it was during the lake effect in Buffalo, and we kick off, and there is about a 20% chance of snow. And next thing you know, by the middle of the second quarter, we have 6 inches of snow. We can't see the Colts because they had top to tail, white helmet, white jerseys all the way down, and we couldn't actually see the players on the field. And so we ended up covering the game from our lower cameras instead of the standard high cameras because you couldn't see the team. So Buffalo played Indy. They beat him in overtime. They could not. It was almost like 2 games were going on. It was Buffalo versus the Colts, and then also the crew, the grounds crew versus the elements. And they couldn't get the snow off fast enough. So that was one memorable game.
Yeah.
All of our Masters tournaments are memorable. One specific moment was when Hideki Matsuyama won in 2021. His caddy bowed when he put the pin in at the 18th hole, and he bowed to the course, and it had so many meanings to it. It was not only respect for the course, it was respect for the tournament. It was validation of Hideki, and then validation. His name was Shota, and validation of the caddy player relationship. And it was a moment that none of us who were in that truck will forget. So specifically to the Masters, that was a big one. And then probably last was just I want to say it was a double overtime football game, college football game in Oxford, Mississippi, and it was Ole Miss versus Arkansas, and it was a 4th down. And Hunter Henry, who's now a famous, he was with the Patriots. I think maybe he's now with he was with the Chargers. So anyway, Hunter Henry for Arkansas Razorbacks caught a ball, ran. It was about to be tackled, and threw it over his head. Bounces over the Ole Miss defenders, and the running back caught it, ran for a first down. And then they ended up scoring, taking it to double overtime, and winning the game. So the old Hunter Henry over the blind pass over his shoulder was something that was an incredible moment, again, for the people in the truck. So there are a handful. I could go on for forever, but those are the 3, especially in different sports, that stand out, different properties that stand out.
Yeah. That's just amazing. It really is. I wanted to go ahead and not necessarily switch gears, but also ask you, could you share any insights or behind the scenes jewels from your experience working in sports broadcasting as well? So obviously you did touch on a little bit of your great moments, something that you do on a day-to-day basis, but I wanted to know if you had any insights or any like key jewels that you could share with us that you do experience in sports broadcasting.
I will tell you that some of the things you learn is how important it is to each community, and you don't want to take that for granted because they work. we arrive on a Monday and we're going on a Sunday night normally, and the same people that you work with have been working on this tournament all year long, and so we make sure that we take a step back and we understand the energy and the time they put into this tournament. So we have great respect for their process. We listen to what is important to them. We know what's important to us. We want to make sure that our cameras are set up and we're ready to cover the champion. They want that, but they want a lot more, and they deserve a lot more because they put a lot of time and energy to it. It's a heavy charity base, so they want to make sure that their charity's taken care of. It's a heavy community base where you get colleges like High Point University involved. We're not far down the road from the Wyndham Championship here, and I see it around every corner how important it is to the Wyndham Championship and to their charitable arms to make sure that charities, schools, community service is all taken care of, sometimes mentioned over the broadcast during that week, because yes, obviously having a great champion is of the highest priority, but right underneath it is making sure that that everyone else that put their blood, sweat, and tears in for that entire year is also mentioned and acknowledged and taken care of.
Okay, awesome. And I wanted to ask you as well, what advice, obviously all these High Point students working in sports broadcasting, we look up to just talking to someone like you. Sure. So this is just amazing. But what advice could you give aspiring sports producers looking to break into the industry?
Well, I loved hearing the story about Wendell. That all of a sudden Wendell's working at the Orlando Magic. That makes total sense to me. When I was here last year, he was one of many that showed me his features. He asked for slight critiques, and was interested in pursuing this field. And that's really how I started. So, what is the advice? It's interesting how Wendell works for Orlando Magic, and you harken back to 1986, and I was doing the same thing. Just trying to find a way to cut my teeth in this space, and mine was at a golf tournament. Wendell's is at the Orlando Magic. I mean, there are plenty of properties in and around the Piedmont Triad area that where a student like you and others can dip their feet into, and the people that run these businesses are also looking, and that's what I want to make sure that you all understand is that they're not complacent. They're out searching for reputable students like yourself, because they want a successful business as well. And I think anywhere, wherever you're interested, pursue it. So who's here? Yeah, the Orlando Magic, but around here, whether it's college campuses and participating within their production, or you have the Carolina Panthers is right down the road. You have the Carolina Hurricanes right down the road, and so. If that's what interests you, give them a call. Send them an email. They're always looking.
Yeah. Okay. And to bounce off of that, really similar. What and as HBUs, as working with HBU as you've been recently, what opportunities would you say students should engage in to necessarily kind of get on that journey that you necessarily started earlier in your career?
Yeah, it's just whatever you like, and I will also say this, that there are a lot of sports properties that send emails, send job application emails, and it's part of protocol now. And not only can you knock on their door, but get online, search these teams. They're always posting job opportunities. And obviously with the access to Innovators, program, hopefully some of us can also help out if the opportunities mesh.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining our Access to Innovators podcast. Mr. Sellers, we really appreciate you for joining us. Thank you so much. Be sure to tune in next time. For Sellers Shot, I'm Ethan Parker. Have a great rest of your day, High Point.